Good morning, Lourdes.
Good morning, Maria. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good.
Have a good
Pretty.
morning?
Yes, it's been a good morning. So,
Perfect.
good morning to all our viewers and welcome back to Coaching Conversations. I'm Lourdes Leeper.
And I'm Maria Savio. Thanks for joining us today. And be sure to watch to the end for today's daily practices. So, today we're diving into something that's simple, but it's not always easy doing good without needing a medal or a thank you.
Yeah, this is a good one. Maybe some of our viewers have had the experience of noticing how some people keep like a mental scorecard when they do something nice, like, oh, I did this for you, now you owe me. It kind of drains the whole generosity out of the act and I don't know, makes it feel transactional.
Yeah, I think that, sometimes people grow up where they're mimicking their parents. The parents were transactional with them, with their partner. And so a lot of times I think it's learned behavior. But there's a deeper way to live doing good because it's just a part of who you are. No receipts, no contracts, just giving from the heart, and that's what we're going to unpack today. There's basically, I'm sure you've noticed, there's about three kinds of people when it comes to doing good. The first type is that transactional giver. They do something and immediately they're expecting a return, like they're tallying up their debts, right? And the second kind is the one that they don't say it out loud, but they basically are keeping score quietly. They're mentally tracking who owes what, and it's like that, that subtle ledger of favors where somebody did something for you, and all of a sudden they call you. And they go, well, remember I did this for you. You don't think that you could do this for me now? And that's one that I really don't like. I like, if you're going to do something for me, if there's strings attached, I want to know right in the beginning. And often I say that because I do have friends that do that, and I say, something to the effect of, well, you know, uh, why are you doing this? There's really no need, or something to prompt them to say uh, what their expectations are, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it really has that ick factor, right? I have certainly encountered people who, will do you a favor and then right away it's like, they're almost handing you a bill. It's like, oh, now you owe me. And it's like,
Right.
wow, if I had only known, I would not have accepted this. It's like, what's the price tag? It's
Yeah,
like,
right.
what are you expecting in return here, bud?
Right. And it's sometimes like, they'll do something for you, and they'll you can tell from their demeanor where they're like, you know what? I own you now. And it's like, wait a second, nobody owns me. I don't need
Yeah,
this. I don't
yeah.
want this.
Right, right, right.
Right.
Like, oh, you're gonna be in my debt now. Now,
Right.
now I'll have
Right.
this over you. And it's like, no, no, thank you. No.
Yeah.
I would prefer not to. I don't like to be on the receiving end of those kinds of gifts.
Right.
But the third kind is the ones who do good, like a vine bearing grapes or bees making honey, right? They just do it. It's natural, it's effortless, and it's done without a fuss or expectation. And that's the sweet spot, right? Doing good because it's part of your nature. It's not an investment or a PR stunt. And psychology calls this intrinsic motivation, doing things because they align with who you are. And studies show that intrinsic motivation brings more joy and sustainability. And when you don't need praise or repayment, you tap into something that's deeper and just feels right.
Right. It's again not having your worth tied with other people's, opinion or generosity or, it definitely is very freeing not to have what you do so aligned or tied into your personal value, because you're valuable just for being. There's no question about that. There's no such thing as unworthy. You're worthy, right? So why do people so many people fall into that transactional trap, right? Why do we want our kindness to be seen or repaid? And I think a lot of it comes from that fear and insecurity, right? We want control. We want to feel valued, and sometimes we equate that with love and kindness and with something that you have to earn. It's like, if I do this, they owe me something, or, you know, really, when you do something and you think if somebody's going to owe you, that can really backfire and make relationships feel like deals instead of authentic connections. And I know that there's room to do that, especially, when you're networking, when you're working, when it's not a personal relationship. Yeah, sometimes we need to do transactional favors, right?
Yeah, I mean, uh, I think we need to really be clear about when it's business,
Mm-hmm.
when we're engaged in a business transaction of some kind, as opposed to friendship or family or just general kindness towards our fellow human beings, right?
Mm-hmm.
And neuroscience backs this up. When our generosity is driven by expectation, the brain's reward system is more about social validation than genuine satisfaction. It's you know it's it's a fragile external reward. But when kindness is intrinsic, we activate deeper reward circuits connected with purpose and social bonding. Dopamine and oxytocin light up in ways that feed our well-being long term.
Right. That vine and bee metaphor, it reminds me of that Taoist idea, Wu Wei, uh, effortless action. It's when you're in the flow with life, doing good because it's natural. And the bee doesn't buzz making, or it doesn't buzz around asking for a tip after making the honey, right? It just does what it's meant to do. And from a philosophical angle, this kind of effortless giving aligns with what Viktor Frankl talked about, finding meaning through acts that transcend ourselves.
Mm. Yeah, because when kindness flows naturally, it creates ripples of connection and trust and belonging without needing applause. So, you know, the way to shift from transactional kindness to natural generosity is with awareness, right? Catch yourself when you're doing something nice and wondering if you'll get credit, and then
Mm.
reframe it. Ask yourself, am I doing this because it's part of who I am, because it aligns with my values, or is it some extrinsic motivation? And let go of the outcome. The goal isn't to be thanked, it's to live authentically and generously.
Right. I mean, when you're doing things, remember your worth isn't tied to what others owe you. And true kindness is free, and it sets you free. I mean, I don't think I can emphasize that enough. The fact that you are untying those strings of worthiness with the outside, that you start realizing that your worth is not based on how kind you are, or, how perfect you are, whatever it is that you currently are tying it to. Your worthiness isn't tied to anything outside of you. Your worthiness is based on your personal reflection of who you are, how you live up to your values, how how you amplify your own dignity and your own self-worth. That's really where it comes from. Your compassion, your self-compassion. It doesn't come from what other people think of you. What other people think of you is really not, it's not of your concern. A lot of times we look for validation from people outside of us, and a lot of times the people outside of us, they're still struggling with their own validation. So how can they actually validate you when they haven't even been able to validate themselves? It's not possible.
Yeah,
Right.
and I think that's so important and so key. This idea of your value being intrinsic and not looking to the outside world to give you value and meaning and praise and caring. It's that caring of what other people will think or
Hmm.
say, right?
Right.
It's that keeping score and measuring up, and it's like a hamster wheel, right? And when we let go of that, of caring what people will say, caring about people's opinion of us, it is freeing. But I mean, that is the work, right? to
Right.
to arrive at a place where you no longer are tied to what other people think of you and what you're doing, who you are, and how you're showing up. It's you bring it back to yourself and how you feel about what you're doing, how you're showing up, and your own opinion of yourself. That's what really matters. And it's a thing. Marie and I are both well over our the 50 mark, and
Thank you for that.
oh, I'm sorry. But it's a thing that women talk about often, right?
Hmm.
This idea of, oh, once I hit, you know I've heard many say, once I hit 50, I stopped caring about what other people think and started living my life kind of more authentically instead of worrying about other people's opinion of me, right?
Right.
But it's like, I don't want women to have to wait until they're 50. I don't want anyone to have to wait
Hmm.
until they're in their 40s or their 50s or even later to own their own value and worthiness. It's like,
Right. To start experiencing their own freedom.
yes, absolutely. So,
Yeah.
once again, I've thrown us off track.
Oh, no. No, you haven't. No, you haven't. So let's go into the daily practices, because as Lourdes said before, it's about that awareness, right? We start with awareness, and we slowly disentangle our attachments to the outside world and starts focusing on our own character and our own values, and knowing, we know what's right and what's good, and we're the ones that have to focus on that. Don't let other people steer your boat. You're the one that's the captain, right? So first of all, pause and check before acting. Pause and notice if you're seeking recognition or payment or repayment, and then align with your values. That's so key. Remind yourself why you want to help, because if because it feels right, not because of what you'll get. Throw away that scorecard. Do it because it is in alignment with who you are, and or who you want to become, right? And practice small acts. Do one small kind act today with zero expectations. Maybe, a smile or a helping hand, and even a smile that you share with someone else for no reason at all. really, it has a big ripple effect. Kindness is something that is a fantastic muscle to start working. And the benefit for you and for everyone around you is really dramatic, the kindness. And then reflect and release at the day's end. Reflect on your generosity. Notice the joy in giving without the strings attached.
Yeah. Um, that's really, really very lovely. And, for me, one thing that I hold on to is the golden rule, treat other people the way that you want to be treated. And, I will do things for others just based on the fact that it's feels like the right thing to do.
Mhm.
And I would appreciate it if someone did that for me. And so it's like it fuels my well-being, I think, in a really profound way. So we'll leave you with this thought: the best kind of kindness is like a vine bearing grapes, or a bee making honey. It just happens because that's what you're made to do. And here's a quote from Viktor Frankl that kind of sums it all up. The meaning of life is to give life meaning. And when we give freely, we create meaning not only for others, but for ourselves.
That's such a, a great quote. And, um, you know, you got this, people. We can do this. Keep showing up. Keep showing up as your generous, authentic self without strings attached. And we're proud of you. You're progressing, and we're all progressing. And thanks for being here. We'll see you next time. We're walking this path right alongside you. And take care of your mind, take care of yourself, and please, support our work by liking, following, and subscribing.